I love what you talk about in terms of perineal massage as well, because again, that's the other thing that women are hearing a lot. You need to do perineal massage, the Epino, though I don't know about anyone else. I haven't heard much of the Epino of late. Once upon a time, I get a lot of women asking me about the Epino, but it seems to have gone a little bit out of favor at the moment. But it's all about stretching and sort of really pulling that perineal tissue, which to me I wonder if there's micro tearing that happens there, and would that be predisposed to more tearing? But
Mm,
your technique focuses once again on that internal release, doesn't it? And that
yeah.
relaxation of the muscle.
Yeah, we call it, I call it kneading the dough.
Mm,
So perineal massage often sends messages of stretching and pulling at the tissues and stretching the tissues, and sometimes also talks about initiating a stinging feeling. I just think that's horrendous, positively horrendous, that you don't lengthen any fiber in the body by, stretching it in that way like that. And if you do stretching in other tissues of the body, it's covered by skin and hair and fat. But gee, going into the vaginal entrance, that's just pretty raw, like crumbs. It's not the same. And so we tend to advocate more for, and I'm a very big advocate of women doing some entrance work, but working to her capacity, working to what feels okay for her body, and letting it build up with time. So we share information like, if this is vaginal entrance and this is the anus, this is the tract of land that they call perineum. Technically, it's perineal body. And I often say to women, it's not where the muscles stick together like a page in a book like that. They don't do that and then split and you're all falling apart. Women can conjure up some very interesting thoughts in their brain. These fibers, the tail ends of all these muscles don't just stick together. They do this. They interdigitate. That's the formal term. And that allows them to give like woven cloth, to stretch, to move, to buckle a little, and to lend themselves to more space creation. So we guide women where they can, not lying down, but usually sort of in a sort of, I do a kneeling, a sort of one knee up, 1 foot down type thing, close to the ground. Some women will pop their leg up on a chair on the toilet and go in that way. Depends on the length of the arms. You got to get in around the baby. I always warn women that you won't like it. You'll hate every minute of doing it. But when your caregivers say, oh, look at that, look at your tissues, they're all tickety-boo, you'll be blooming glad you did your homework. And again, it's about enhancing capacity, increasing anatomical potential. It's not guaranteed, but crumbs. I've seen it. In my private practice as a midwife, I never expected to see a first-time mother push for more than 20 to 30 minutes if she'd done her homework, because the tissue's just all that had the heads up about giving. So it's about oiling up the thumb, non-perfumed oil, obviously not evening primrose oil, but I use almond oil in my practice. If a woman's got a problem with almond oil, which is extremely rare, I use coconut, but you can use olive oil from the kitchen, whatever. And you bring your thumb into the vagina. And in coming in, you can use the whole length of the thumb, really. And she can oil up her fingers and around, here's the butt cheek and here's the other butt cheek. And she can wrap her fingers in and around like that and work the tissues in a kneading type way, kneading the dough type way, as if you were starting out making bread and you're picking it up and you're working it quite gently to start with. And over time, of course, you might really have to knead it. Over weeks, a woman might be more vigorous with her kneading, but never stretching, only encouraging circulation, only encouraging blood flow to the tissues, and therefore then more hormonal interplay. And she will find spots. She can go right out. If she comes out that way, or the other way, she might have to swap her hands. She can almost go out into the tissues connecting into the sit bones, into the ischial tuberosities. And there is a truckload of connections into those sit bones. We think, oh, well, they're just sit bones, they're just beautiful rounded things that are the basis on which we sit. There's a lot of connections into those sit bones, and they can be incredibly impactful for birth. And so even if she just does her own exploration and goes about it quite tenderly, sometimes, like there was a woman this morning, was it? She said, I've started to do some work for you, but it's triggering me. I said, okay, so why don't you just gently hold and get into that position, thumb in, fingers on the outside, and tighten up and let go and notice how it feels. And come in here more to the thinner part before the anus and tighten up and sigh and notice how it feels. Go to either side of the anus. And the same, just keep that brain exercise of what does that feel like and what does that feel like. And it's sort of like inviting her to start so gently and tenderly in a way that she feels, to use a stupid expression, she doesn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If I said, no, what you're doing is wrong, love, and you got to keep going and go a bit more vigorous, she's not going to do it. But if I say to her, do things as you feel are right for you, trust here, this intuitive response, see if your body's responding more, see if you can start exploring new little pockets inside and doing some nice circular movements, stroking movements on the tissues in there that are not stretching, that are just gentle and tender. She'll very likely work up to being quite a bit more deliberate with those tissues. But if you go hard, and also if it hurts her, forget it. She won't do it. So that's what we do. Also, if they've got previous scars, vitamin E oil is a beauty to work on the scars. And sometimes a very good quality vitamin E oil is really viscous, like it's like treacle. And if they've got pubes, it can get quite, sticky and pull on the pubes. And nobody likes a pulled pube. Not that many women have got any pubes these days, but never mind, that's another topic. So she can always mix the vitamin E oil in a little bit of a carrier oil to go along that scar. It's really good for scars. Yeah. And work all the way around that until it becomes more comfortable. And it works. It really, really works.